Welcome to Who Are You? Curious Stories of Family Lore. I'm Weetzie,
And I'm Sam Ivy.
and this is episode 5, Ghosts of Clinch Mountain. Hi. Thank you, fam. Thank you for joining us. You've made it to, if you're here, as Sam coughs in the background, it's okay. They're used to that by now. This is episode 5. We've had guests. We've had 2 guests, I think, to this point,
Yep.
and 1 live or 2 live recordings, and then some virtual recordings. So we're testing the waters. We're trying to get better. So without further ado,
Let's get spooky.
let's get spooky. Actually, That Spooky is a great podcast. Shout out to Johnny and Tyler. Tyler's an artist too. So we are talking today Ghosts of Clinch Mountain. And it's actually Ghosts of Clinch River,
Yeah.
technically Ghosts of Appalachia. So it's kind of brought it out a little bit. It's kind of branched out a little bit. So we're going to be talking, we're going to shift. We've been talking a lot about my dad's side of the family and the Franklin line, but I want to shift and talk about the Clinch line a little bit. And the reason for that is I want to start with introducing who my grandpa was, and then the family folklore around him, and then how this ties into Appalachia and Clinch River and Clinch Mountain,
Okay.
and then get to some spooky stories, basically.
Good.
So, Richard Clinch is my great great grandfather on my mom's side. It is on her dad's side. So her paternal great grandfather. He was born on June 15th, 1851 in Kent, England. And when he was about 20, I think, he immigrated to the United States and settled in Stockbridge. He married my great grandmother. They had a bunch of kids,
Yep.
et cetera, et cetera. My great grandfather, Marvin Lynn Clinch, is who my grandpa's named after. So,
Okay.
Richard Clinch is growing up, who I thought these family stories were about. But what's interesting about this podcast, what I've started to uncover, is that as I try to match, I hear these family stories, these lore stories, oh, your great 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 grandfather went to the Appalachian Mountains and you're going to find out and did X, Y, and Z. And then I go to find it, and it's almost like he did everything he could to hide it.
Damn.
This is just a slice of what I know. And so then I tried to I'm going to share what I believe to be true,
Yeah.
what I found, and everything like that. But the story in my family was that one of the Clinch grandpas had a separate second secret family. Wow. A separate second secret family.
An SSS.
Yes. A super secret second family. So like an SSSS. Down in Tennessee, in the
Yeah.
Appalachian Mountain region. And he made dulcimers and kayaks and was a woodworker. So he has a bunch of stuff named after him. There's like a Clinch River,
Okay.
and there's a Clinch Mountain range and everything. And I've only ever heard about these things. I never looked it up, never bothered.
Yeah.
Not that I never bothered, just an opportunity never really
Yeah.
arose for me to go there and explore, or
Or like a reason to necessarily, it's just been a cool fact, you know?
yeah. And so when I went this weekend to a wedding in Virginia, into the middle of nowhere, into these crazy these crazy, beautiful, smoky looking mountains. I'm wondering, what even are they?
Yeah.
What range are they? They were just so cool. We basically went from New York all the way down to Virginia, and this wedding was for Jess and Eric, mine and Brad's childhood friends.
Aw.
So we all grew up in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so Jess was my childhood best friend's sister. So I was always in her house, always hanging out with all the
Yep.
brothers and her and Jamie. And then Eric was my babysitter's son
Aw.
and ended up becoming friends with one of Jamie's siblings. So he was also always in their house. So it's just
Yeah,
kind of
you guys
cute.
was always together. Yeah.
Yeah. So like when we got invited to their wedding, I was like, we have to go.
Yeah.
There's never going to be another child like
You've been seeing this love story fucking for years. Like, you gotta fucking follow it through.
adorable. So we're driving down from New York, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland, went to Wawa. Uh, shout out. I also went to Buc-ee's, whatever, but that was in Virginia. Like well, just West Virginia for a second, which still messes with my brain. Don't get it. Then to Virginia, all the way down. And I look on the map because I was like, "Hey, babe, do you know like what mountain range we're in? Because these are gorgeous." And he was like, "No, I have no idea." And so I went to Google Maps and I zoomed out and I got slapped in the face. And I will post this with the fact that we were on the Clinch Mountain range. Like we just were right on the northeastern part of the Clinch Mountain
Yeah.
range that reaches out to Virginia. So I was like, wow. And what's cool too is when you see the trailer that we made, the
Yeah.
second picture is my great grandpa Marvin, Richard's son. So Richard's who we're talking about.
Aw.
So like I have a picture of Richard too, which is crazy. Picture of somebody born in 1854 in England,
Yeah.
an ancestor, died in 1937, but I have a photograph of him. I don't even have a photograph of. Sorry, I have to itch my back, and my mic is probably going absolutely crazy. I've been moving around a lot too. I'm just like, it's hard to stay still. That's why we need
I mean, it
mics with
sounds fine on my
stands.
end.
Oh, good. That's good. Um, so where was I? What was I saying? Oh yeah. So
You
it's
were
like,
saying you
oh
have a
my God.
photograph. Yeah.
Yeah, there's photographs, but I'm on Clinch Mountain. We're in the middle of this mountain range in this wedding, and I'm just like, wow, I need to look more into this, basically. Like
Yeah.
this is cool. Um, and so that's when I decided, okay, let me see when the Clinch River was named. Let's start there because we have to have a time frame, a range of
Yeah.
which this river was named, because if it was really named after my grandfather Richard, who I've been speculating it is, it should have been probably somewhere in the early 1900s, maybe late 1800s, something like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the river was named between 754 and 757. 17,
Okay.
not 7. So 17. So that's 100 years too early. What is known about the origin of the name for Clinch River was that it was named for an explorer who was exploring the region. So my great great grandfather Richard came over from England. He was the first generation to live here from my family.
Yeah.
There could have been other Clinches that traveled. Um, he could still have had that second family and still could have been, a big contributor to other things. Like there's
Yeah.
like a town named after him. There are other smaller things. Um, but it was interesting trying to make the connections and
Yeah.
realizing that perhaps sometimes the family lore and the stories that we grow up with don't necessarily connect to fact, and that's okay.
Well, you got
you
to think
know
about it. Like, the people that originally tell the stories lived it, and then when it gets passed down, we didn't live that experience. So we're telling what our mind has fucking, kept together to create that story. That's part of the reason why I wanted to do this shit and like do this podcast and whatnot. Because like the stories that I have to tell, they might not be 100% accurate because I didn't live it, but it's how it got told to me and how it stuck in my brain.
yeah, exactly, and that's part of the beauty of it. I remember being told about how my great great grandfather had a secret second family and he made dulcimers and I got handed down one of the dulcimers. Even though sometimes stories are told, there's truth there
Oh yeah, 100%.
in whatever part of it. Just because the Clinch River wasn't necessarily named after, potentially, it still could have been. There is
Yeah.
still a world where Richard's dad or Richard's grandpa could have traveled over from England and explored the
Hmm.
Appalachian and did things over there and then went back and told stories to his children about the United States and the opportunities there and the
Not only that,
country.
but like record keeping back in the day too. Like, it could only be so accurate. So maybe somebody just got the date wrong, or something along those lines.
Exactly. You never know. Going to Clinch Mountain and then remembering the story made me want to do an episode about it, even though it was kind of out of sequence with what we were doing. I felt like it was important and it was a sign that that was something I should talk about. What were you going to say? I thought you were going to say something.
No, all I was gonna say. It's also nice to just take a break from some of the heavy stuff too. Just space it out a little bit.
Yeah. I'm going to do more research into the whole second family thing. I'm going to talk to more family members and get more information about that. Because I know that the mountain dulcimer, those are created, that I don't know a ton about the dulcimer. I have one that my apparently was made by my great uncle. So that would have been Richard's, no, one of Richard's grandchildren. So
Mm-hmm.
my great uncle, one of my grandpa's brothers, I believe, my mom got it for me, and she's no longer with us, so I can't exactly ask her the origin of that. But it was made by family members in
Oh hell yeah,
Tennessee, so direct family members,
yeah.
and she had to track it down. So everybody has heard about the Appalachian Mountains, and Clinch Mountain is in like it runs through to Virginia
Mm-hmm.
and down through Tennessee. So it like stretches a couple states. And Clinch River is in Tennessee, closer to the Tennessee range. And so I thought maybe it might be kind of fun to talk about some ghost stories and common things seen and tell a story of when I was there for this wedding, there was a time where I was standing out on the dock, kind of looking at the water, and I think Brad was in the bathroom or something, and there was like a local down there because this
Yeah,
was at a state park, and so I
yeah.
kind of left the reception area, and they told me some ghost stories about the mountain range we were on, some local kind of lore,
Local lore. Yeah.
and I find this to be relevant to our family podcast because we were on Clinch Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So this Hungry Mother State Park area is where we were at. So I'm just going to pull up some of my notes here. And like I said, the sources will just be in the show notes. I'll just provide links to like the
Yeah.
websites that I'm
Like
using.
any good journalist does.
All right. Here we go. Do, 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 do. These are some ghost stories from the Hungry Mother State Park region and the Virginia region. So these are around Clinch Mountain. So the first is Bunny Man Bridge.
Oh shit.
The Bunny Man is an urban legend known to many in northern Virginia. While sightings have been reported as far north as Maryland and as south as Culpeper, and that area is it like just kind of touches Clinch Mountain, so it counts.
Yeah.
Um,
Just a tip.
wow. So
Sorry.
no, it's fine. The Bunny Man apparently hangs out on this bridge near Fairfax Station.
Yeah.
They call it Bunny Man Bridge. Um, there are a ton of different versions of this story, but the specific article talks about takes place in 1904 when inmates were
Mm-hmm.
being transported from an insane asylum to the Lorton prison. They escaped during a vehicle crash. According to Atlas Obscura, love Atlas Obscura, in this story, an escapee's body was found hanging near a bridge. They could never find the other escaped inmate, but found half-eaten rabbits hanging in the trees across the area. Well, there has
Dude.
never been an asylum in Fairfax County. Brian A. Conley, a historian archivist with the Fairfax County Public Library, said the story has been circulating since the 1970s and has only grown in popularity. Um, he says Conley said it likely well, I'm going to start that entire sentence over. Conley said the tale likely originated in October of 1970 when the Washington Post reported police were searching for a man who likes to wear white bunny rabbit costumes and throw hatchets through car windows.
Good combo.
However, police never found the elusive bunny man and found the only witnesses who had seen him were children. So children are reporting this.
Dude, how traumatizing.
Oh my God.
It's literally like Trick or Treat mixed with like American Horror Story because I love the movie Trick or Treat, but they have all like the mentally disabled kids on the bus and the bus crashes and then, and they're all dressed up in Halloween costumes and shit.
Yeah. I was
Eh.
thinking Frank from Donnie Darko, personally.
I can see that too. I didn't even
That's
go to
right.
Donnie Darko. Okay.
Oh, I
Okay. I
love.
wonder if both of those things were inspired by some of that story or that lore.
Oh, well, Donnie Darko came out after. So maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe somebody happened to, catch the article like you did and just freaking got inspired.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there and I don't know if I'm imagining this. There's a scene I'm imagining in Donnie Darko where Frank is like engulfed in headlights of a car and he has a
hmm
hatchet in his hand. Let me
I
just see.
feel like you're right, but I have not watched that movie in so long that I can't. But I feel like I see what you're seeing.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yes. Save the link.
It appears he's just yeah, I think he's just standing there, and that what he's
Okay.
has in his hand is his mask after he takes it off,
Okay.
and shows that he's Frank. That's what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, this isn't
Either way, we
a
can see an
podcast about
influence or
Donnie Darko.
inspiration.
What's that?
I said either way, it shows like a possible influence or inspiration, like
Yeah.
that's wild. That's a wild freaking story, especially because I don't live close, but I live close enough to Fairfax. Like my mom lives like right over there at Newport News. So,
Oh my gosh, that's
yeah.
another family connection. There we go. Um. Okay, so the Bunnyman Bridge. I have the address for you if you ever want to go. It
I
is
bet.
located at 6497 Colchester Road in Clifton. And while you won't get hatchets thrown at you by men in bunny suits, you also probably won't see like rabbits hanging around either, this says. So,
I'll
uh,
still bring carrots as an offering.
yes. Yes. Okay, this one's a little bit of a stretch.
Okay.
Crawford Road. This is actually Crawford Road runs through York County and Newport News and is
Okay.
reportedly home to numerous hauntings. Have you ever heard of Crawford Road?
Um, Probably have. I only ever really go to my mom's house in Newport. I don't really like explore. It sounds familiar, but it would make sense, dude. My mom's had some weird incidences at her house. So, like, yeah. We'll get to that in another episode, but yeah.
Oh, that's cool though. Um, this one's kind of rough. So, according to author Pamela K. Kinney, there are a few legends surrounding the bridge, including a black woman who hung herself rather than marry a man she didn't like. Another legend is that the bridge is haunted by black men who were hung by the KKK at the bridge or Civil War soldiers. Wow, Civil War soldiers. That's really difficult to say. So, in addition to seeing ghosts, many people have claimed to have heard, I think that's thunder. That just shook the entire ground. It feels like something massive is moving across the ground right now.
I think it's funny as soon as you started talking about this shit.
And it's sunny out, so I don't understand. It's like super stormy over there and sunny over there. Wow. So, anyways, In addition to seeing ghosts, many people have claimed to have heard strange knocking and disembodied voices. Kinney said another common theme with these stories is often people's cars will stop running and will either need to be pushed through the haunted bridge or shift into neutral and drift through.
Nope.
When the
Nope. Car staying there. Sorry.
when the unlikely travels eventually leave their car, they'll see handprints on it. Oh, I've heard this. I've heard about this one.
I think I have heard of this one. Because I'm a huge, like, urban legend buff and shit and stuff to that nature. Like, as much as I hate living in Maryland sometimes, like, there's so much, like, history and, like, ghosts and stuff between, like, Point Lookout and being able to go out and see, like, the lighthouse. And then, like, you go out there a certain time, you'll see half appearing bodies, like, no feet, but just their upper half, like, walking across, like, the beach.
And where
Like,
is this?
Point Lookout, like, right down the road from my house, honestly.
Didn't we go there?
We were going to. We went to my grandma's house that's kind of on the same water stretch, but not over there by the lighthouse.
Oh, that's cool I remember
Yeah,
that. That's cool. I'm gonna tell two more stories.
bet.
Okay, this one is called The Wicked Witch of Pungo.
All right.
It's about Grace Sherwood. Um, she was probably, so this is saying that she was an average person who over time became accused of being a witch.
Yeah.
So author L.B. Taylor Jr. said the first mentions of her witchcraft appear when her husband James Sherwood took neighbors to court twice for defamation lawsuits where neighbors claim she cast spells. This is in the 1700s, by the way. So
Okay.
all this is taking place in the 1700s. So these neighbors are like, you're a witch because you're trying to take us to court. You're casting spells, so you're a
Yeah, so that's the
witch.
worst thing we can do to you is claim that you're a witch so you can get stoned or drowned or some shit.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry, I misread this. She was suing them for defamation because they were saying she was a witch and casting spells on them. So she sued them. She was trying to sue them.
Yeah.
Um, However, they countersued her and took her to court for practicing witchcraft and basically were like, oh, you're going to sue us for defamation? Well, we're going to sue you for witchcraft kind of deal.
That's
So a
crazy.
four-person jury was put together to examine Sherwood. This was in 1701, including one
Okay.
member of the jury who had earlier accused her of witchcraft. So literally this jury,
Bias. Yep.
biased as fuck. I wonder if they found her to be a witch.
You know?
Anyways, we'll find out right now. Taylor said one of the pieces of evidence used against her was she had several spots on her body, such as warts. At the time, these were seen as abnormal teats for the devil to suck on, and apparently appeared on witches. She was put through witch dunking, where the accused witch was tied up and submerged underwater. If she floated, she was a witch, and if she sank, she was innocent. So Taylor said Sherwood surfaced the water and freed herself from the ropes and swam to shore. She was declared a witch and locked up, although Taylor said Sherwood was never formally accused of being a witch again in court, and historians believe she was only locked up for a short period of time. Even in death, Taylor wrote stories of her witchcraft. Stories of her witchcraft persist in ways such as no grass is said to have ever been able to grow in the spot where she underwent dunking at Linehaven Bay. So there's like a bald spot on the bay.
Yeah.
So she is buried in Hollywood Cemetery in Richmond, Virginia. So,
We should take a trip.
and this leads me to our final story, which really is the story that is the reason I chose this article, because this is the only place I could find any information about Hungry Mother State Park's hauntings. Because I'm telling
Okay.
you, I knew it was haunted when we were there, and that's part of the reason that I wanted to look up what mountain range we were on, because they were so spooky and so creepy, and it probably could have partially been because it was foggy, because it was warming up after a rain. Who
Yeah, but
knows?
you've always been more in tune to energy and stuff too. So like, don't knock yourself down. You're very, open minded and with it.
Well, thank you.
Of
So,
course.
Hungry Mother State Park.
Every
Hungry
time you say
Mother
that,
is
sorry, I'm
a.
waiting for you to say hungry motherfucker. Sorry, just had to get that out there.
I wonder how many people have said that in their heads, though.
That's all. Sorry, that's all I kept hearing when you're like hungry mother, and I'm like fucker, stay far.
Hungry Mother is a peculiar name. When we
Yes.
got the invitation for like Jess and Eric's wedding, and it said Hungry Mother State Park, I was like, what an interesting name.
Yep.
So the name, the story behind the name, is interesting. So here we go.
All right.
P.M. Elton, the author of Ghostly Tales of Selected Virginia State Parks, said Hungry Mother State Park was founded in 1936. Um, and a popular origin story of the park's name, which, if you ask me, this is a very weird, this is a choice, I'll say. I'm not going to say weird. I'm going to say this is a
Yeah.
choice. A popular origin story is that Molly Marley and her child were kidnapped by Native Americans after an attack. While the mother and child managed to escape, Molly eventually passed out from exhaustion. Her starving child was found wandering near the stream, only repeating the phrase, "Hungry Mother." Elton
Oh.
said the Historical Society discredits this version, saying the real Molly Marley lived in the area before these events ever occurred. Still, similar legends about the park still circulate, and some guests have claimed to hear cries coming from the spirits of the dying mother or her child. This leads me to, remember how I said I had a quick little conversation with some of the locals?
Yeah.
What led me to find that article and that story was this story. Um, this is kind of crazy. It was a woman with her like son, but he was a
Yeah.
teenager. And she said that she's been going there since she was a kid. She lives in the area. And there have been many times where she has seen like the apparition of a kid, like a young kid walking
Yeah.
around barefoot, not saying anything. And she said she sees them out of the corner of her eye, always by water too. That just said
Hmm.
by the stream. And
Yep.
the Hungry Mother State Park is in the Clinch Mountain range. And the Clinch River runs in Tennessee. I don't honestly know if it reaches through to Hungry Mother State Park, but there's a huge lake there. There's a lot of smaller lakes throughout. Excuse me, I'm like burping. Oh my God. Excuse me. Um, and she said that the wind at night, if you listen, sounds like crying. Like she says, you can hear crying and it sounds like a woman. And so if you have this story, maybe Molly Marley is not the woman in the story. But
Yeah.
if somebody was kidnapped, if a mother and child were kidnapped by Native Americans after an
Hmm.
attack, and they were released to the elements, and the energy of that pain and that suffering, knowing that you're starving to death and your child is
Yep.
too, that's awful to witness as a child. And if he was wandering alone without her, one can only assume that she died. And
Yep.
this kid was so traumatized that he or she just kept whispering hungry mother," over and over again.
Hmm.
And then in 1937, they named the park that. And it doesn't say what year this took place, like,
Yeah.
because it says that Molly Marley lived before the events took place, but it doesn't actually give a time of when this
Those
attack
events
and
happen.
everything
Yeah.
occurred. So I know that there were a few times when we were staying in a cabin there, and we would drive to the event center. But the event center, there was a lot of areas to walk around, and we
Yeah.
got there at 6 in the morning, and so I had the windows down, or it was 6 and 5 in the morning, and I had the windows down, and I thought I heard like children calling.
Yeah.
And so I just assumed like, oh, people are up early. And it was
Yeah.
coming from my left side because I was driving. Or was Brad driving? I feel like I was driving. I was also very exhausted because we've been driving all night. Yeah, I was driving. I'm correct. Okay. But I'm like, my brain is like, we did a lot of
No,
driving. I
you're
did a lot of
good.
switching. And I did sit in the back at some point. So like I would have, it was this side, but it could have been front or back. So that's why I was like, was I driving? But the window was down and it
Yeah,
sounded like kids playing kind of, but like, if you like hear a playground in the distance and like you hear kids
yeah.
calling, trying to get each other's attention,
Hmm.
it was like that kind of deal. And I look over and it's just a huge, like, empty field with thick, thick, dark trees. There's nothing over
How
there.
eerie.
And
How
I was like,
eerie.
oh, and the sun was rising, but it was rising from behind, so it was still really dark. Because we were
Yeah.
the mountain, like if you looked that way, it was like the thick, dark forest going up the mountain, and there was just this clearing in
Mm.
front of it. And it just was, I just remember being like, that's spooky. And then there's fog everywhere. Like everything's
Oh yeah.
coated in fog. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. It was like
So setting the scene for a horror movie.
the creepiest time to go in.
Yeah.
So that's really it. That's my story. Those are the stories, some fun ghost stories of Appalachia, really Virginia, truthfully. They were Virginia ghost stories because we spent the weekend in Virginia. And I just thought, shout out to Richard Clinch, who I thought maybe had a second family. Stay tuned. He may have. We're going to look more into that. Um,
No, I think it's cool too, like how into ghost stuff you are as well, and how it, like intertwines with your family because it also intertwines with my family. Same with like the witch stuff, you know. Like my mom back in the day used to do a lot of ghost hunting with my aunt and uncle. A lot of like things in like South Carolina, North Carolina, like wherever we ended up traveling, like they would go do some ghost stuff or like look up some lore and things like that. Because just like my mom, I'm super into lore, super into urban legend. Even if the stories that we hear or that we perceive and want to believe in aren't necessarily true, like you said before, there's some truth in all of it.
yeah. Yep. It stemmed from somewhere. Even with that story of the
Yep.
origin of Hungry Mother State Park, I decided to go ahead and put this together into an episode because sometimes things don't necessarily connect with a pretty bow, but making those connections and being like, wow, if I hadn't looked into my great great grandpa and the history of Clinch Mountain, I never would have found these cool stories and I never would have realized,
Exactly.
oh, he actually came straight from Kent, England. He was the first one. So I'm still learning things and I'm still finding out cool
Yeah.
facts. So
Well, it's just, I feel like it teaches you to take a step back and kind of appreciate the little things, man. Because I feel like, life moves so fast and, it's constantly go, go, go and, reach these goals, do this. And we never take the chance to just on our own take a breather, look at everything, appreciate, understand where it came from.
so you mentioned like you've always been into like ghost hunting, but like lore and like ghost
And urban legends, all that
and
stuff. Yep.
and connecting to your ancestors, and that is perfect. Like that's why I want to do this. I want to be spooky. I want to learn about my family, but I also like I want to like do research and be like, okay, Clinch Mountain, what
Yeah.
ghost stories can I find? Like what things
Yeah.
can we tie into just learning about our family? Because now you guys who are listening, and maybe if you're looking on social media, you've seen pictures of my great great grandpa. And now you know what he looks like, and that's really cool. And then you also heard some cool ghost stories, and that's really cool. Um, I heard this really cool fact. Everything's really cool apparently today, but I heard this awesome
Yeah.
fact that this psychic medium on TikTok or Instagram, and I'm sorry I don't know her name, but because I was doom scrolling, whoops. She was saying she had posted this video about like four signs, or like if you've never broken bones in your life, these could be the four
Yeah.
reasons why. And it was so cool. I've never broken a bone in my life. Have you?
I was born broken, dude.
Oh my gosh, I'll have to look up what that means. That's right, you were born with a broken collarbone, weren't you?
Yep. Like literally 2 seconds the doctor walked in the room, yanked on my neck too hard, broke it, and we didn't find out till it was already healing. So one of my collarbones is a little wonky compared to the others. They just told my mom I had colic.
Wow, that's I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Have you ever broken any
And I
other
broke a
bone
few
besides
after that. Yeah.
you have?
I've broken my wrist in like third grade.
Oh
playing
my
soccer.
gosh.
I front flipped and I did the dumb thing of trying to catch myself, and that little ball in my wrist like got moved back.
Oh.
The school nurse at the time just gave me an ice pack and told me to get back to class, and it was my dominant
Oh.
hand, and I had to write like a little like essay or some shit that day. So by the time I got home, my hand was like literally like blue and purple, and my grandma saw how swollen it was. Took me to the doctors right
Wow.
away, and that wrist was broken. And then I broke my ankle before as well.
Wow.
Doing nothing important, I literally tripped over a tree stump so big, and I was just walking
What?
and talking in my friend's yard. Yeah, I was walking and talking in my friend's yard, and it just twisted just right, and it snapped. And she didn't believe me because,
I'm
dude,
sorry I'm
I
laughing, but
shit you not, I shit you not. Yeah, that was my luck, man. Because I love the movie Now and Then, always have, and there was a character that Christina Ricci plays, and she always, faked her death or faked some harm or something like that. So, like, I used to do that to my friend, not faking my death, but I'd be like, fake hurt. I'd be like, oh, I hurt myself. Oh, like, just to fuck with her. So when I actually did break my ankle, she didn't believe me for a few minutes because I'm sitting there fucking like rocking on the ground, like holding my foot, being like, I can't walk. She goes, get the fuck up. What are you doing? Like, stop it. I'm like, I'm dead ass. Like, get up, like, go get somebody. And it wasn't until the next day that my dad actually took me to the doctors because it was all swollen and stuff. And I had to wear a nice little green cast.
I can't believe they waited till the next day.
Yeah, well, because he's like, put some ice on it. You probably just twisted your ankle. We'll put heat on it. And I was like, I can't
Fair.
walk.
Yeah, I would have. I'm like, let's go check you out. Just be
Well,
safe.
he
That's
played
crazy.
basketball like most of his life, so like he was used to twisting his ankles and hurting his feet and stuff like that. So
Fair.
like he knew what to do if it was that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um, well, the reason I asked that random question right at the close of our show, was because she was saying, the psychic was saying that if you haven't broken your bones, it could mean that one, you've been reincarnated, and in your previous life form you experienced a lot of physical trauma and physical pain,
Yeah,
so much so that your soul doesn't have a reason to experience it in this lifetime. And I'm like, please, oh my God, be that one. Oh my God, be that one. I'm good. I don't need no physical. And then the second thing was like, also, though, like if you haven't broken any bones, it could mean because you don't need physical pain, you're going to carry emotional pain instead.
that's fair.
And so your bones have been made stronger so that you can focus on your emotional pain. And I was like, oh, that sounds right. Sounds right. And then the other one that I really like, I thought it was four facts, but I can only remember this next one. Um, The other fact that I recall was that it could mean that you have a strong ancestral link and that your ancestors are
Okay,
protecting you.
okay. Well,
I
fuck, my
was
ancestor
like,
said fuck me from the start.
your ancestors were like, go!
Yeah, they're like,
Get
go
the fuck!
back.
Yeah.
Oh, I've done so much shit to myself. I was a klutz. I was a very klutzy kid.
No, but I could draw the assumption that on the flip side of all of these things, somebody who experiences heavy physical pain, you broke your collarbone as soon as you were born. Maybe in a
Yeah,
previous incarnation, you experienced so much emotional pain and no physical pain that in order for your soul to evolve, going off of the logic of this psychic, if you're
yeah,
for your soul to evolve, maybe you had to come into the world in that physical pain. The shock that sent through you, the cortisol that released, shaped who you are as a person. It changed your gene
I can believe
expression
that.
100%. And maybe your gene expression needed to exist in a certain way for you to be as emotionally mature as you are, for you to handle the life that you've been given, and for
Hmm.
you to save your grandmother's life, you know? Like you have gone
Yeah,
through
no,
to
I get
keep your
you.
dad safe. Like you're your dad's parent. You are the glue that keeps your family together. And you were born with a broken collarbone. So you immediately were like, well, fuck. I have to be a baby and have a broken collarbone and no one's gonna
Not
fucking
that,
do
but have a
anything
broken
about it.
collarbone, get swaddled, fucking get carried, get cuddled, and no one knows that I'm crying because the shit's broken.
Oh,
It's cool. I got a picture of the doctor. I got my hit list if I ever need it.
hell yeah. Hell yeah. Send it my way. We'll post it.
Yeah.
Totally joking. We are not hiring any
No,
hits.
no. All jokes aside, it is what it is, you know?
But yes, I just thought I'd share that. Um,
Hell yeah, dude.
so this is why it's good to do your family research, research your family history. I haven't even, I would say we're just getting started with this. Like these
Oh,
episodes
yeah.
are going to get more organized. There's going to be more bulk. There's going to be more meat and potatoes. But if you like the concept and you like our voices, I think that's a pretty good reason to stick around. So,
Yeah. Or if you want to add to it, man, please, by all means.
yeah. Well, I think on that note, is there anything else you want to add? Any final thoughts?
Nah, really, just keep it spooky, dudes. Like, you know, keep going out there. Like, tell us some stories. I want to hear more. Give me more places to travel to.
Send us your spooky family lore stories. And if you want to come be a guest on the show, let us know. Be like, hey, here, I'd love to give you my story. Here it is. Also, I'd like to tell it myself. That'd be fine. Or
Yeah.
you can just write in and we can read them off. Yeah, we can just read them off too. So either way. But anyways, thanks for being here, fam.
Appreciate y'all.
And never stop asking,
Who
who
are
are
you?
you? That's
Who
pretty
are
good.
you?
Okay, I thought we did a good job.
You know, not bad, not bad. I'll give us
Yeah, well,
props.
Doris gonna do it. Who are you?